my server, and you have to pay like $1,000 to play there because hashtag sellout. Alright, guys, there's one more video I'm gonna check out today before I start playing, by the way, because this one popped up yesterday, and I have only seen parts of it, but I haven't seen everything, and it's a video that I've been waiting for, because I saw him tweet about this, that he was making it, and many of you guys might know what I'm referring to here. If you don't, we're going to check out a video by Bellular about Turtle. Blizzard went nuclear, and the title is Turtle WoW is a criminal front, so Blizzard invoked RICO, or RICO. This is huge, because this is the first really big creator I think we have covering Turtle WoW in such a level that he is about to do, and it already has 127,000 views in 19 hours, by the way. So like this right here could have a massive impact for the whole first of all, knowledge about the lawsuit, because not everybody knew about this lawsuit if you haven't played Turtle WoW. Now, with Bellular making this video, even if you play retail, you are very likely to know about it now, which is great. Like, the more public eyes we have on this, the better, I think. Either way, let's take a look, shall we?
The last time a private server was in the news, it was Nostalrius. Over 9 years ago now, they shut the private server down after receiving a cease and desist from Blizzard. That led to massive, widespread protest, and under that pressure, Blizzard were forced to act. And we got Classic as a direct result of that. This time, though, it is completely different. It's a hell of a lot more dramatic, too. Yep. And the target is Turtle WoW. In many ways, Turtle WoW is the Classic Plus that we've always dreamed of. And they're not shutting it down in response. Yeah, they're not. This is where the story gets interesting. You see, the thing is, Blizzard didn't send a sternly worded letter. Blizzard sent a legal nuke.
I was about to say, is that really where the story gets interesting, though? Because to me, the fact that they're treating Turtle WoW like the Italian mafia, that is where the story gets interesting to me. The whole not backing down also makes it even more interesting, but the whole RICO charging and treating them like an actual mafia, well, the mafia, that is where it was interesting to me, at least, eh?
And I am not joking when I say that. Neither are they. They're invoking the RICO Act. This is a law that was initially designed to take down the mafia, the actual mafia. And in the process, they are revealing the public information of the people behind it. With one single line, they gave credence to a long-standing conspiracy of corruption in a secretive private server empire, one where people are making millions. An empire that Blizzard might know all about, but they need a legal angle of attack. It makes for a hell of a story, but hey, as a silver lining, I think this is kind of proof. Proof that Blizzard really does know what we want from Classic Plus. If you only pay attention to retail WoW, you may not even know what Turtle WoW is, though you may have seen advertisements for it. Anyway, here's the short version. It is quite simply one of the most promising private servers in existence. Over the last 8 years, it headed down the route that I'd say most of us would want from a Classic Plus. They were actively developing the game, they had a team of over 100 members, and this meant new story content, new dungeons, new raids, new zones, all explicitly friendly with vanilla lore, all perfectly matching the Classic style. Take a look at this map for Dragon Maw Retreat, just for one example. Anyone could be convinced that this is a real Classic dungeon. Even this orc staff is based.
This is what I was talking about earlier today, by the way, in the orc staff here being made. I think it's a sketch by Metzen, right? I think he's about to say it either way, but like, yeah, this orc staff right here that you can see in Dragon Maw Retreat. And does it even look like the dungeon is based on a sketch? I don't know.
Based on an old sketch from Chris Metzen.
Yeah,
and
there we
looking
go.
at the Turtle WoW wiki starts to make you think you're kind of in a parallel world where things turned out differently. One where high elves are a playable alliance race, or where dungeons like BFD or RFK get extended in patches, going even deeper. And on top of all the actual content, the most common thing people would praise about Turtle is their anti-botting measures, said to actually work better than Blizzard's. Now, emboldened by their ambition and success, they have been posting about their player counts. 500,000 active players, 44,000 concurrent players. Those numbers are an absolute triumph, but chasing something that high has likely sealed their doom. You see, they've been hosting adverts on Google's ad services. They've been running social media campaigns. Last year, they posted a trailer showing off their work porting World of Warcraft to Unreal Engine 5. That was a
Yeah.
trailer that Blizzard had taken down. They were literally snarking.
I personally believe that trailer, by the way, was a huge part of why they caught Blizzard's attention. I mean, that plus the fact that they're always in the replies on Twitter from, well, I guess X now, either way, like in Blizzard's replies, and snarking at them. It's pretty insane. They kept poking the bear.
In Blizzard's replies, quite overtly.
Yeah, like here, for example, they're literally in the replies of Blizzard CS, so customer service. Sorry for the confusion, Ali. Basically, you shouldn't need to worry about a false report, as any action that is taken is only done so after an investigation. Sure it is. Yeah, there's no automation happening, right? It's an actual human investigation. Of course, yeah. No, nobody questions that. The heat got to the poor fella. Install air conditioning.
Poking the bear. So this then was only a matter of time, even if the people involved thought that they were invincible. On August 29th, Blizzard filed a lawsuit against Turtle WoW. Not a cease and desist. Nostalrius obeyed a cease and desist out of fear, but most small teams just sort of throw them out. This, though, is a lawsuit, and it's one of the most intense ones that I've seen in quite some time, because of these two things: participation in a RICO enterprise and engaging in a RICO conspiracy. As I said earlier, that is literally anti-mafia law. Blizzard are saying this isn't just a fan-made private server. They are calling Turtle, quote, a multinational business enterprise engaging in, quote, organized crime. How? Well, they allege they are, quote, operating a sophisticated and lucrative global enterprise that develops and sells software that the defendants know illegally infringes on Blizzard's trademarks and copyrights. That alone is not enough, though. They've also been, quote, authoring and distributing extensive US marketing campaigns and funding solicitations that tout pirated content. Blizzard argues in the case that this is illegal racketeering. And legally speaking here, Turtle does not have a leg to stand on.
No.
Any fair use arguments fall apart when you're a 100-strong team, when you're raking in potentially millions of dollars in donations. Yeah. Donations that I should add are essentially a loose cover for what is a cash shop. They do brazenly advertise in the United States using...
It's like, I feel like so many servers are doing this, and it feels like a legal loophole, but I'm just not sure. Like, it's a cash shop. But what you are doing is basically donating to the server, and I'm not speaking about only Turtle here, by the way, but many servers do this exact thing, where you donate to them, you then get donation points, and then you can spend the donation points on actual stuff. It's like donating money to a store, and then getting store credit, and then spending the store credit on stuff. You basically just purchase the stuff, just the wording is different. So you could technically go to the store right now and buy things for free by donating the money, get store credit, and then get stuff on the store for the credit. That is basically exactly what this is, right?
Using Blizzard's trademarks. And look, would they be running paid ads if they weren't going to see a return on that investment?
This argument right here, by the way, I think would be an extremely strong argument, because if they were not making a profit, they would not run ads. When you run ads, you are obviously doing it because you're generating profit. You're not going to run ads simply to publish the server when it's already huge. So that's a huge signal that they're making profit.
The lawsuit makes claims about, quote, negative experiences tarnishing the Blizzard brand. They are provably right here. That's because Turtle has been hacked before, and this even led to the leaking of users' personal data. And even if their server core is based on an emulator that supposedly has no real Blizzard code, that actually doesn't matter in this case. You can just download a full client from their site, and that client has all the WoW assets. Now, when I say they thought they were invincible, I meant it. If they have any hope of surviving, which they claim they will, they have one option. And in fairness, it's a fairly good one. It's relying on being outside of United States jurisdiction.
Team America!
America is not actually the world police. They can't be like, say, the cops from Cyberpunk 2077 that would just teleport right on top of you. The owner of Turtle WoW is Russian, which basically means they're, well, kind of immune. The servers are reportedly hosted in the United Kingdom, operated by a Kazakhstan entity. If legally hunted down, they would have to move somewhere, but there are many somewheres out there, so they otherwise would be fine. And they appear quite confident that they can just hide from US intellectual property law. Blizzard knows that, and that is why Blizzard is using the RICO Act. And that's where the other team members come in, because it could give them power. They might force American and European internet service providers to block access to Turtle servers, or to get their site taken down. As an example, their domain is hosted by Namecheap, which is an American company, so that's free game. Cloudflare as well. And the European defendants in this case are in genuine danger. They could face civil monetary damages, legal fees, and many more. And after touting 500,000 active players, Blizzard could do some serious financial harm. They could ask for many millions. Even if it's the Russian and Kazakhstan elements that hold all the money, everybody else might catch personal liability and somewhat be ruined for life. Though of everyone, it's the Americans involved who are obviously in the most danger. Specifically, there's one, Acalix, who Blizzard calls the public face of Turtle WoW. And considering he's even been on a YouTube interview in that role speaking on behalf of the team, it is hard to deny.
Yo, Nixius, insane PR there, by the way. Damn, included in a Bellular video.
He's kind of Blizzard's in a way, because he is an American. The US courts have direct access to everything, not just money. You see, discovery in law is when you can force evidence out of the other party. Acalix could give up financial records, and that would give Blizzard a legal trail to follow. And of course, if you hide evidence from discovery, you're very much in a lot of trouble. Discord, for example, could be asked to hand over direct messages from everyone involved. That might actually be the plan. For years across Reddit and forums, there have been allegations of a private server empire with...
So basically, they might use Discovery here to get Discord messages, if I understood that correctly. And then they could, for example, get the whole private server mafia and reveal them, I guess. Okay, let me go back like 10 seconds here, just like, well, more than 10. Let's just go here.
Direct messages from everyone involved. That might actually be the plan. For years across Reddit and forums, there have been allegations of a private server empire with Shiana at its head. Apparently, even saying their name mutes you on Turtle's Discord server. And that's because people believe Torta, the Turtle WoW owner, is actually Shiana. But not just people. This lawsuit is also...
Yeah, like the lawsuit as well calls Torta, aka Shenna, aka Torta and Shenna. So maybe they have somehow been able to dox and find out who both Shenna and Torta is, and it's the same person. Or maybe they just buy into the whole theory. I don't know. Like, either way, that's pretty insane. If they're digging really deep here.
Making that claim. This is the same Shiana who some people allege to take over private servers, then force in cash shops against the developer's will, and then, well, pockets the money. But not just that. As well as abusing power out of greed, also alleged are doing things like selling maxed out characters or generating gold for gold sellers and taking a split of that.
Yeah.
I'm not going to go any deeper on this side of things, but let me put it this way. This is allegedly a multi-million-dollar criminal enterprise abusing the genuinely passionate developers of most private servers that you know. And this may be Blizzard dropping a stick of dynamite down that rabbit hole, maybe to see what happens. Or maybe that's all nonsense, And maybe it's just Blizzard angrily trying to shut down a private server that is encroaching upon their business. Either way, though, Blizzard are definitely trying to break Turtle here. But given the Russia and Kazakhstan angle, well, their method is to break the people that they can legally access. Putting insane legal pressure on individual team members is going to cause team problems, and discovery does mean a lot of data will get out. If Turtle survives, it will be without these people. It will be by putting its head down and working quietly in the shadows, like other servers do. Which raises a very big question. Why do Blizzard just not let private servers do their thing?
This is what I've been wondering as well, because even if they take it down, like let's just say they take down the Turtle name, and they take out everyone except the people in Russia. The person in Russia is the main person behind Turtle. They can hire new people, and simply relaunch it as Tortoise WoW, Squirtle WoW, Charmander WoW, Blastoise WoW, Dino WoW, you name it, right? The whole problem is going to be a never-ending cycle, and there's two ways that they can infinitely fix this, by the way. Number one, compete in the market, like Blizzard in this case. Make a better version of Classic Plus that people want to play. And when I say better version, it means both better in terms of gameplay, but also better in terms of having game masters, banning bots, actively monitoring and banning against gold buying and gold selling, which is never going to happen, by the way, so we can keep dreaming. But also number two, official private servers. Think about GTA 5 or any other game that actually lets people mod and make their own servers in the game, and then the people that own the game, in this case Blizzard, would simply take a split of the revenue that is made on the server, or even force people to have active subs. So when you log into your servers, you have different options: Mists of Pandaria Classic, Classic Era, Classic Plus, or a brand new category called Custom Servers. Over there you can find Solheim's server, Ebonheart's server, you can find Turtle, you can find Ascension, a lot of different custom servers that people are now making on Blizzard's game. In this case, players need to have an active sub to play on these servers, and Blizzard can simply sit back. Like, this is what they would have to do in this case. They come to work, they sit back down, they relax a bit, drink some coffee and sip some coffee and be like, "Ah, good day of working, boys. Let's look at the sub numbers," because they don't have to develop anything anymore. People now develop the game, and Blizzard simply sits back and rake in the cash.
This has been the big talk of the town, basically people saying, look, the only WoW that I want, the only WoW that actually reflects what I want from that experience, is over on those private servers. So what is the truth of things? Well, there are loads of private servers out there, and Blizzard mostly seem to let them stand. I mean, real talk, if Blizzard wanted to, there are loads of private servers that they could find and take down. And I've always wondered why they hadn't, because generally big companies tend to do that. What we do see examining the evidence, though, is that Blizzard tends to only take private servers down when they get big. Nostalrius got hit when it was reaching a fever pitch. Even ignoring a multi-million-dollar criminal enterprise allegation, Turtle made itself Blizzard's problem by being as big as it was, but by being publicly big, by starting the ad campaigns, by publicizing the Unreal Engine 5 port, and trying to poach players from under WoW's nose. That's who those advertisements would have been targeted at. But in addition to that, we all know Blizzard are working on something like Classic Plus. They quite literally said as much when Season of Discovery ended, and it's been quite a while since then. That does make Turtle a genuine competitor to a business that Blizzard wants to run, based on their own intellectual property, copyrights, etc. And this is the frustrating part. They offered a great experience in Turtle. I mean, I look at some of the patch videos, I look at the stuff that they made, and I see the passion, I feel the passion, and that's damn exciting to me. So they offered a great experience. Obviously, though, they did know the risks. And even if, for the majority of players and developers, it's passion for World of Warcraft in its classic form, well, there was plenty of knowingly profiting from breaking the law going on. Even though, yes, they were filling a market niche that Blizzard was not filling. And the tricky part is that, well, that market need itself is reliant on the Warcraft IP. Without Warcraft assets, Turtle wouldn't be Turtle. As an example, people want a new StarCraft. They might really want StarCraft 3. But that hasn't meant that they've went and bought Stormgate, which is quite literally a spiritual successor to StarCraft II made by StarCraft developers. No, people, in addition to game mechanics and stuff, they want the actual IP. They want the thing that makes them feel the way that IP makes them feel. The real McCoy. And I'm not just saying that to defend a multi-billion-dollar company here, absolutely not. This is a problem that Blizzard created by not making their own Classic Plus. And in the vast majority of cases...
There we go, that is exactly it. They should have made Classic Plus, and it's like, taking it down, like taking action against Turtle now, while not only having not made their own Classic Plus, they haven't even talked about Classic Plus at all. No announcements, we don't even know that they're working on it. They have said in one singular instance that they are cooking in the kitchen, basically trying to cook up something good. We don't know what they're cooking on. Is it Warlord of Draenor Plus? Are they working on something in Mist of Pandaria? Is it a new season? If so, what is that season going to be? Is it a Vanilla WoW season, TBC season, Wrath season, or are they actually cooking on Classic Plus? We have no idea, because they refuse to communicate. If they're going to take away the one good option we currently have for Classic Plus, how about giving us a different option? Food for thought.
Fan projects should be protected and supported. PC gaming is founded on a mostly healthy modding culture. Even outside of gaming, communities of fan fiction and fan art lead to experienced and skilled creators. But the challenge here is that this isn't just fan art for fan art's sake. It is a full development team, and it appears to be fully monetized, raking in millions from intellectual property that is not theirs. And with no idea of where that money is actually going. In an ideal world, maybe the Turtle devs could go legit. Maybe Blizzard could let them license the Warcraft IP, or work officially with a Classic Plus team. But that changes things, because if that happened, they would then become headcount under Microsoft. Are Microsoft really going to allow for something like that? And even if they were, it would be different. It would be more expensive. It would be more structured. It would have all the problems of a large organization. It would become a job instead of a passion project, and all the motivations could change drastically. And that's the real struggle here. On one hand, if you do things officially, it's going to take a hell of a lot more work. On the other hand, you could do it quicker, not really asking for permission. You can make massive progress, and you can do that in the shadows and not be caught, but even still, it is dangerous, because it invites the kinds of alleged corruption that we're talking about here. If they wanted to continue their project, well, they probably should have respected that and not brought in the monetization angles. It's the monetization via donations that are effectively a cash shop that, to me, just seems like it kind of seals the deal. And it's reasonable to think that if you didn't have the monetization angle and you didn't have the boasting of huge player counts and the paid advertisements, that they might be able to do what every other private server does: stay out of the limelight and just have it be a thing that their users play. You know, draw people over slowly, via word of mouth in DMs, not in big public places. To also take measures like removing visible Blizzard trademarks and offer client patches instead of full game client downloads. But mostly money, keeping money out of the picture, because money invites people who want money. And that very much includes Blizzard. Now, I'm not dooming here. There are plenty of private servers out there that are happy and healthy. There are ones that operate largely in the shadows, like, as an example, an ARPG-inspired solo progression server that I'm not going to name, but just point being, there's lots of different takes of what WoW is out there. There's a WoW server subreddit that's very well known and has been well known for years. There's the 4chan general thread that has a whole big list of them. If Blizzard wanted to send out DMCAs, it would take one person a few hours to compile a list of names and web addresses. In fact, as far as we know, they do send them. It's just the owners kind of ignore them, and that's that. Blizzard doesn't really follow up fully. Perhaps they don't feel they need to. Perhaps they feel the only ones that are a real risk are the ones that catch on, as Turtle did. So where does Blizzard go from here? Well, the obvious answer is that some version of Classic Plus is coming. They've probably hit Turtle to clear the way for that, to not have a competing World of Warcraft product, which, let's be real, is kind of their right. It is their IP at the end of the day. Though all we can do is wait for the inevitable announcement. At the latest, I would expect next BlizzCon, which would be in 2026. It may be earlier, just to address the people who are waiting, but either way, I just hope the people get what they want from a Classic Plus that is official from Blizzard, because at the very least, if it's official, well, you're not going to be playing it with fear that one day the servers could be taken down and your characters would be gone. I suppose what I can say for sure is that Blizzard absolutely sees the player demand. Blizzard absolutely has a profit motive. So these things are in alignment. They literally have a dev team that's pretty much said they're working on Classic Plus. It's just a matter of time till we see what Blizzard's vision is. And at the very least, I would hope that the genuine passion of Turtle developers and Turtle players could be a source of inspiration for those developers on the Blizzard team. You know, it's not a perfect situation, but there's absolutely going to be good lessons that can be taken from Turtle's existence. What do you think? Did you play Turtle? Did you want to play Turtle but were spooked out by the idea it could be taken down? What do you think is going to happen next? I'd love to hear, and if you're a player as jaded by the Shadowlands as I am, you might be happy to know that there's been retcons and things that, well, basically do try to take away a lot of the real bad shit from Shadowlands. If you want to learn about that, check out this video next.
Alright, there we go. Good video. What do we think, boys? What do we think? Once again, I feel like there's so many different options Blizzard could have taken here and simply suing without even talking about it and not even announcing Classic Plus or being vocal at all and non-communicative, basically. I feel like it's a wrong approach. Sure, they're in their right to take it down, and sure, go for it, like... they're in their right, I can't really complain. But the way they go about it to me is just so weird. And they're ignoring the outrage, they're ignoring people wanting Classic Plus, even though, let's say they are cooking it in the kitchen right now. Why not talk? Why not communicate? I feel like over the years they have lost so much communication, and it makes me honestly really sad. Communication at one point used to be absolutely pristine, and now it's not even a shade of what it used to be in the past, not even a fragment. You can't even see a nudge of the same thing. Can you get a link to the video? You got it? Okay. Yeah. I will happily give you a link, dude. No problem. It's a Bellular video. He is a much bigger creator than I am, and I think it's perfect that we get some more eyeballs on the situation, including people from retail, for example, that he reaches quite a lot. Either way, boys, that was a good video. I do agree with a lot of things that was said. And also, interesting take on the whole thing about the RICO charges and the discovery element. I haven't seen anybody else talk about the discovery part, that he talked about, like, all the way, was it, like, back here? He talked about some discovery part of the trial, and that to me was really interesting. Don't know exactly where that was, though. Either way, like, you get the point. Yeah, this one right here, the steps in the trial, so, like, right here...
Dustin.
Let me just skip ahead. Yeah, this one right here is Discovery. I haven't seen anybody talk about this, so to me this one was really interesting, and it suddenly makes way more sense why they named so many people in the suit. Simply reading this right here and what he said about this makes everything make more sense, because prior to that it just seemed weird to name so many different people in the suit, but now it makes way more sense. Either way, good video. At this point, we are probably going to start playing some video games, I think. Going to be logging into some PTR here, some public test realming. I almost forgot the word I was going to say, dude, either way. Yeah, some PTR testing the dudes. We're going to test out some public test realms. Just checking out if we have any other videos that are worth watching right now, because I'm going to be eating some food. Well, I say eating, we're gonna make some food at least. Any other big videos so far today? I think that's about all the videos that we were going to watch, so at this point we can turn on some music again and keep playing some video games.